Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are wrapping up our path to the Amagi, which can only mean one thing, guys. We are taking out the Amagi. So let's look at our commander build. Takeo Takagi with Azure Lane Scharnhorst and Andrew Cunningham as our inspirations. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, but I don't have Azure Lane Scharnhorst. Who should I use? Personally, if I don't have Azure Lane Scharnhorst, I use Andrew Cunningham, and then I go with something like, I'm just going to use the regular commanders, because most people should have those by now. But I would use either William Sims for extra hit points, I would use Charles Madden for the extra reload and traverse speed on your guns, or I would go and I would use Paolo de Revel, which should be way over here somewheres. Am I right? God, I hate how they've done this. I literally hate how they've done this. Alright, let's just go battleships. See if I can find them that way. But Paolo de Revel would be the other one that I would try. Right there he is. So, he gives you a flat 5.4% reload boost on your main gun. So, that's what I would choose personally if I was without Scharnhorst. Okay? So with that being said, as you guys know, Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Marksmanship, Reaching Out XXL, Will to Rebuild. Those are our perks. Let's look at our equipment. We're running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We're running Steering Gears Mod 2. We're running Concealment System Mod. And we are running Main Battery Mod 3. It's going to slow our traverse speed down on our main guns, but it's not that big a deal. You do get a better reload, so it's not too bad. We are fully upgraded, of course, and for loadout, we have Spotter Plane, obviously, and then we are running Community Contributor Flag and the Shadow Camo that I made permanent for this thing. I love the Shadow Camo. Okay, so survivability. 62,300 hit points. You got 43% torpedo damage reduction, which is fantastic. Artillery, you get 410 millimeter third gear types. You have 10 of those that reach out to 19.2 kilometers, reload in 26.4 seconds with this build, and a 180 degree turn. Like I said, not that bad. 36.1 seconds, even with the nerf to the guns that we have because of that main battery mod 3 or whatever it was booster that we picked. Equipment. HE shell maximum damage 6,500 with a 30% chance to set fires. The HE in this thing is disgusting. It's Japanese HE, which means it has the improved penetration or whatever it is with Japanese HE that is ridiculous. But it hurts if you need to switch to it. And you do occasionally need to switch to it. AP shell maximum damage is 13,310. Fantastic. 127 millimeter Type 89 secondaries. You have 16 of those that reach out to 5.2 kilometers, reload in just 6 seconds. They do a maximum of 2,100 HE shell damage and have an 8% chance to set fires. And then you have the 140 millimeter third gear types that you have 16 of that reach out to 5.2 kilometers and reload in 8 seconds and have they fire AP with a maximum damage of 2,700. AA defense, not the greatest. As we've already talked about, the AA all along this line, not that great. But 25 millimeter Type 96 Mod 1s, you get 18 of those that do 32 damage per second and reach out to 3.1 kilometers. 25 millimeter Type 96 Mod 1 dual cannons. You get 48 of those that do 120 damage per second, reaching out to 3.1 kilometers. And then you have the 25 millimeter Type 96 Mod 1 triple barrels that you have 36 of that do 73 damage per second and reach out to 3.1 kilometers. And then you have the 127 millimeter Type 89A1 secondaries, dual purpose, that you get 16 of that do 81 damage per second and reach out to 5 kilometers. Maneuverability, maximum speed's just 27 knots. That's right there with most of the top tier battleships when you're running gyrating drill bits, because it slows down your maximum speed. Turning circle radius, not great, but not horrible. At 870 meters, it's better than the Iowa, but not quite as good as, say, Alabama or Massachusetts. And that's mostly due to the nerf on this ship. If you guys remember, back in the day, this ship in the Nagato was nerfed. Same time the Iowa was nerfed, but Iowa really got off kind of easy. Nagi and Amagi did not. They got smashed, and Amagi especially. Now, Amagi is a lot more accurate now than it used to be. So there's that. You could trade that. But the biggest advantage of the Amagi was being able to easily outmaneuver the enemy battleships, and they would bow tank and shatter and bounce a lot of rounds. Then you would get that rear end involved to get a full 10-gun broadside off and absolutely annihilate things. You can't do that as easily anymore, though with this build it isn't as bad. It is still pretty nasty at a 16.3 second rudder shift. And then on top of that, even after you do finally get this thing turning, it takes forever to turn. So the nerf to this was pretty rough, but the buff to the guns is pretty nice, and we're going to showcase that in this match. Concealment, 13.4 kilometers with the concealment system mod. We have, and that's by sea, and then we have 11.2 kilometers by air. 2 is always guaranteed, and then 15.1 kilometers while firing in smoke. So smoke firing penalty pretty bad in this. Okay, armor. So as you can see, Amagi significantly more armored than Nagato, so that's good. You still got a very significant torpedo bulge, which is where it owes its torpedo protection to, which is nice. But as you can see, the forward plating, 32 millimeters, that's the same as the Iowas and most other Tier 7 battleships. They have that 32 millimeter bow, can only be overmatched by the Yami. Okay, so keep that in mind. Get rid of that, and we see our torpedo protection is technically only 25 millimeters thick, but it's also, you got quite a bit of belt armor there as well. Yeah. Get rid of the conning tower. That's casemate armor belt. There we go. Armor belt is 254 millimeters thick on the sides. So that's plus the 25 millimeters that you get with the torpedo bulge. So significant. And you may notice it's got a turtleback. Yeah, you see it right there, that nice little angled upper piece. The Amagi has the turtleback armor, but you cannot rely on it. It is decent, but it is nowhere near as effective as the Germans. So keep that in mind. Okay? Getting rid of that, you can see the citadel on this thing is interesting and also angled. So you are more likely to be citadeled from plunging fire. And it extends from the front gun all the way to the rear gun, as in most ships. But the good news is it is mostly below water, so at close range, you're less likely to be citadeled, so there's that. But overall, the Amagi, at the ranges you're usually going to be playing the Amagi, even though I like to get up close and personal when I can. Usually you're sitting at mid to long range, and you are susceptible if you go broadside to being citadeled. Also going to show that one in this video. Big guns. This ship is armed with high caliber main battery guns. Used to be the biggest guns at its tier, but Georgia is here, so 18-inch guns at tier 7. Fast, above average maximum movement speed. Again, I don't think you could really say it's above average, considering it's literally exactly average. Pretty sure it has the exact same speed as the Iowas, the Bismarcks, the Tirpitz, all of the top tier battleships have a fast battleship approach. Okay, even though most of us run a dispersion build with gyrating drill bits, which slows them down. Sure shot. Shells with a good ballistic trajectory maintain velocity, making aiming easier. And also, the dispersion on this thing is mostly horizontal, which we've already talked about is the best kind of dispersion, which generally ends up making it easier to citadel things. Plus, these shells, for some reason, just like to citadel things. Amagi, a battlecruiser design with very powerful artillery. Though outclassed by other battleships of her time in terms of armor, Amagi was to a great extent superior to them in terms of speed. She was designed in 1919, but she was never built. Okay. So, let's take a look at her. It's a good looking ship. And I do love the black camo, the shadow camo on it. It is a good ship. There's just really nothing else that you could say. It is a good ship. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Sleeping Giant. We're in the Amagi, and we're top tier. They do have a Parsifal, but as you can see, the enemy team, not really a whole lot to be afraid of other than the Kagero. Maybe the Suja. But, with all of that, it's going to be one of those games where things don't work out the way I had planned, but it actually ends up being a good thing. And then things get weird. So, yeah, we're gonna go with that. So hopefully you guys are ready. I got a good match for you guys. It's going to be fun. This was actually one of the first matches I had. I want to say this was like number 3 of the day. I think the first match I had, my team just completely folded, and it ended up being me versus 4 or 5 ships, and I think I ended up with like 70k. And then the second match, I ended up having over 100k, but it wasn't really a game that was fun to watch. This one is going to have everything. So hopefully you guys are ready. It's going to be a good one. And like I said, it's going to be one of those games that just seems to, like, I screw up, and it actually ends up helping me. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Also, been a minute. We haven't done a trivia question or anything, so let me see. By the end of this video, I will have a trivia question for you. So, with that being said, you don't know when it's going to happen. You're going to have to listen or watch or both. But, yeah, we're going to move over to the left side initially. The reason I was thinking of this, I spawned kind of mid, and I decided that I was going to help the left side because they were kind of the weak side. The right side tends to be a stalemate, so I figured coming over here to help the left side, I could get a little bit more done. Unfortunately, because I see these guys out here in the middle of the map, and there's so many of them, I start to turn in, and that's where things go wrong for me. Now, the enemy carrier has come all the way across the map to attack a battleship that has a battleship and 2 cruisers right next to him. So, hopefully we're able to help them out. We've already got two planes shot down in that first attack run, and we're going to get 2 or maybe 1 more here to get another one down. But we're not in range to shoot anything, really. I'm looking over at the turrets. We're trying everything we can there, but we just don't quite have an answer for it. And so we're just trying to get in range to be able to shoot things. Now, the good news is, the positioning of everybody on the map, they are outside of my normal concealment range, but inside of my actual range now. We're starting to get to that point. But then, this island, I had every intention of going all the way around the outside of A like I normally do when I spawn at A, even though I was on the right side. I was going to help this side push. I had no idea that the guy that spawned here in the cruiser wasn't playing. No idea. Literally had no clue. Now, Odin starts to change direction. I recognize this. I lead him. I don't think we actually get much of anything out of this salvo, though. I think we hit the island, and then we just get, yeah, we get a shatter and a ricochet. But then that's when I noticed that there's a broadside Nagato sitting, like, you can't ask for a better shot. Like, this guy has no idea I even exist. We use the plane, we give him the business, and, yeah, that looks pretty promising, doesn't it? Boom! 3 citadels. 3! That would have never happened on the old Amagi. Well, very rarely would have happened on the old Amagi to get that many hits in one salvo. But it doesn't matter, because he's still alive, and unfortunately, I was the one spotting him. Now, we do have a plane right over top of this island that's going to get these guys spotted again, and unfortunately for Nagato, that means he's about to have an even worse day. Now, keep this in mind. I just triple citadeled him, and now he's broadside again. He's obviously trying to reverse. He's trying to get that will to rebuild going, and we get a double citadel on him. And just like that, we're up to 67,000 damage. But in true Spartan fashion, we have to leave him with just enough to get away. That's 5 citadels on one ship in an Amagi, and he's still alive. And somehow we lose the Georgia first. I know, right? It's ridiculous. But King George comes out to save his buddy and completely screw him at the same time. What do you mean, Spartan? Well, he was the will to rebuild for his Nagato, and then he just took off and left him. But he's also making himself a juicy target for everybody to focus, so the Nagato lives to reverse and get into will to rebuild with his buddy, potentially. At least until our carrier has something to say about it, I think. But we managed to get another shot here. He's angled slightly away. We try to adjust for that, but again, not getting the best dispersion, but still a solid hit. 4 overpins, 1 penetration, 1 shatter. And you can see I'm kind of stuck on this island. I want to be able to move my ship a little bit, but I'm kind of stuck. So I have to keep reversing. I have to keep trying to wiggle my ship to the point where I can finally get loose. But King George is turning in, and we get the beautiful shot off. I am expecting deletion here, and then he runs aground. And I'm like, dang it! It's like they know! And now all of a sudden, the carrier on the enemy team, the Parsifal, comes at me like he's like, oh my god, this guy's beached. I'm going to absolutely wreck him. And he doesn't. Like, he doesn't wreck me at all. So, not sure that the Amagi is the battleship of choice to try to AP bomb. It seems to have a pretty solid deck armor. Maybe I'm wrong. But that was a much better salvo. 6 full penetrations, absolutely wrecking the guy. We're finally free of our prison, and we're starting to slow down because we want to continue to be able to shoot this King George and finish him off. Now, the front gun's definitely going to hit the island, but I'm hoping that the rear guns will make it. He's about to start going forward. We play that to our advantage. Remember, rear guns is still 6 guns. Like, you don't necessarily need the front guns. And we do manage to reach out, touch, and finish him off with 2 full penetration. Now, we're up to 118,000 damage already. This match could go either way. Like, either team could potentially take over this match. It just takes 1 or 2 people to do it. Now, we've got a cruiser in the middle taking the Bravo cap. Our Fletcher, of all things, has decided to come flying in and to try to help him take the cap, which I don't necessarily hate, but you'll see why it ends up screwing me in the end. A lot of you are probably already expecting. Now, I've got a Siegfried over here. He's on the back side of the island, but I'm going to be able to measure him up, get a shot once he gets behind. Now, I didn't fire right away. First of all, I couldn't, but I didn't fire right away because he was scraping the island, and that'll screw your shot all up because the game uses some sort of auto-aim feature. So we get a shot off, and we get a Citadel on him right away. 15,000 damage in that salvo. We're up to 150,000 damage done. And Tirpitz is kind of behind that mountain. We're not able to do anything, but Siegfried seems to be all about that push right now. Like, he feels like he has the advantage. He's coming in. He wants to capture the base. He wants to drive us backwards. I'm not exactly sure what his entire plan was, but let's just say that it's not necessarily the best plan for him. Because I measure him up again and we get another Citadel. Like, you can't keep pushing if I'm going to be able to take all your hit points. Now, that being said, here is where we get to show off the bias of cruisers to battleships here. Okay, remember, this is a cruiser that has 305mm gun. Or no, I lied. It has the 381mm guns of the German battleships, the 15-inch. And we, of course, ricochet 4 shells off of him, getting 2 overpins and a penetration. Watch what he gets out of return. Now, obviously, I'm giving him a pretty good angle, but he gets a Citadel right off the bat. 12,000 damage on one of his shells. Really? He's 10 kilometers from me, and I have turtleback armor, yet he gets a Citadel on me with his 15-inch guns. Now, we waste a shot here because I honestly didn't trust my team to do it. Now, our carrier is being proactive and going across the middle of the map early. We have a 3-cap advantage, though the enemy team is in one of the caps currently. So we have the points lead. We also have a single ship advantage. Both teams still have their carrier. Both teams still have their destroyers. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't notice that the destroyer was out on my right here. I'm paying attention to the turrets, I'm tunnel visioned. I get a good shot in, not the best result, and I start turning into battle tank, and that's when I realize that there are torpedoes coming. And unfortunately, I've kind of screwed myself. Because I've charged ahead, I am now, instead of continuing the turn in, I am now making myself just absolutely the juiciest target ever for these torpedoes. They weren't meant for me at all, and yet I managed to put myself in a perfect position to catch them. And unfortunately, that is going to end my game. Now, we've got the Fletcher here, who's pushing up. The friendly battleship actually managed to kill the enemy Kagura, which is huge. That's huge. Our Fletcher at this point is the best possible chance for our team to win this. But, unfortunately, he's going to throw that away. He's going to rush ahead. He's got this battleship who is going broadside to a Tirpitz at close range and a Susia. So this battleship is not long for this world, let's be clear. The battleship, I believe, gets his torpedoes off on the Susia, but I don't think actually catches the Susia. Maybe I'm wrong. But Fletcher also dumps his torpedoes, but gets too close and manages to get himself spotted. And when you only have 2,600 hit points, and you're this close to a freaking Tirpitz, you're not going to live very long. And down he goes. So now our team is at a disadvantage. We have one cruiser who has not played the entire game. We have one battleship, and we have one aircraft carrier to maintain some sort of an advantage here. Now, the Vladdy's very low health, but unfortunately, this Richelieu is not exactly, like, keen on shooting where he can get some damage to finish the guy off. He shoots the armor belt, which is angled away from him, on a Vladdy. I don't know if you guys know this about Russian battleships, but they have very, very strong armor belts. So if they're angled at all, do not shoot the armor belt. Shoot higher, shoot the bow extended armor, the stern extended armor. Do not shoot the armor belt. But unfortunately, that's exactly what he did. Now, he is going to try to switch to HE, I believe, here. But funnily enough, the Vladdy is going to go down, thankfully, to the friendly carrier. And that's going to allow us to get away with this. We get the advantage right there in points. Now, all these guys have to do is nothing, and they win. Right? That's it. Our cruiser needs to stay alive just by sitting where he is. They don't know he's there, apparently. So that's huge. The carrier, obviously, is more worried about trying to kill one of the guys that's actually playing, which is not the best play for him in this situation. Because you know that cruiser was spotted at one point. And he is exactly on his last known position because he hasn't played. So the carrier could have easily killed that guy and won the match. But the carrier is going to come after this Richelieu, which has fantastic anti-aircraft properties. And on top of that, the carrier's nearby and going to try to help this guy out. He's going to come over top. He's going to drop some fighters and stuff to help him. And then this guy in the Richelieu doesn't know about locking his guns. He takes a little too long to turn there, unfortunately. Catches another torpedo, but it isn't flooding. And that turn actually saves him from a potential fire from the Susia. Now, the shots are coming from the right side. You can see he is trying to turn his guns to the right side. But then he just kind of sits here with his guns at the front. There's nothing off his bow. What is this guy looking at? Seriously. If somebody can explain this, I don't know. But Susia gets another shot off. He's going to start trying to burn him down, which he very well could do in a minute and a half. Only got 22,000 hit points. Now he's rotating his guns to try to get shots at the Susia. And then he does the unthinkable. Like, this guy ends up spamming HE for the rest of the match. I don't understand it. But is what it is, I guess. The carrier is trying to do something about the Susia. So there's that. But yeah, you can see he is shooting. And he's getting very good RNG for the dispersion as well. So as long as he aims it well, he's going to get some damage. But the Suja is going to get harassed by the carrier and torped, and that's actually going to be huge. Because it kind of keeps the Suja like doing things other than just focusing on burning our Richelieu down. Now we end up finishing this match with 186,000 damage, 7 citadels, high caliber, 12 planes shot down, 62 hits on target. Like, we had a pretty solid game all around. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And we haven't really done a trivia, so maybe instead of a trivia question, let's go with something. I guess it's technically a trivia. It'll be my channel trivia. Now, lately, a lot of people have been going back and watching some of my oldest content. So, I've got to say it. What was the video where I sang in my WRX on the way to work? Okay? There's one video. I sang in my WRX on the way to work. It's very early. Let's just put it this way. It may or may not... Never mind. I'm not going to go any further. Top of the leaderboard, 2,700 base XP. Not too shabby. Didn't get a lot of the kills, but we did all the damage. So there is that. But yeah, make sure if you comment, the first person to comment the correct answer of the first video where I was singing on my way to work, I'll pin you. 186,000 damage, 7 citadels, high caliber. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.